next day. So when I did my skeleton, I did 4 skeletons. I did all the bones and did all the musculature. They were all done for learning, but then they were all sold. Lots of people want bones. It's amazing. Lots of doctors, hip doctors want all the hips, and the guy who did the cardio stuff want all the heart stuff, and ribs, everything like that. So it seemed everybody had a need for them. I even got hired to do 20 feet one time. All the ugly feet I could. I was going to a foot doctor. I didn't want to have ugly feet. Great practice. I went to the pool, found people with ugly feet. If I draw your feet, well, they're really ugly. That's why I want them. They're perfect. But all those feet trained me to do feet, but then I sold them, was able to carry on the next day. So if you're going to be a kid jumping into this, you better make sure you're willing to work hard at it, because there's no artist I know who has it a profession who doesn't work very, very hard and says it's work. And it's hard work. And when they do it, they choose their master. That's the other thing. You have to choose who's going to master you. You think you're working for yourself. No, you're working for a gallery, a show, a client, a commission. If some people say, well, I'm going to be a pure artist, well, are you waitressing or teaching or construction? You're serving somebody to pay you to do that. And you'll get to a stage, you do what you want, but then do you? It's always for a market or show or spree. And I'm going to do this and bring it to the market. Yes. What do you, 4 years from now, then what?
Mm-hmm.
Does that, I don't know if that's answering your question.
That's great, yeah. You are one of the most hardworking artists out there, and you're so interested in nurturing new talent, encouraging people to do life drawing and drawing groups and so on. Because you support other people so much, I think you deserve to be supported. How important is it to have a community of artists around you who are doing what you're doing and know what art is about and go through the same things in a sort of mutual art environment? How important is that to you?
You need to have your peers around you. I have a drawing group that's been together for 15 years now, and it's really important because one thing, they critique my work and they come in. There's little post-it notes sometimes. This needs to be done, this needs to be done. I have to talk to them again, tell them that I'm not a god, I'm just one of them, and they have the right to critique. If someone can't paint as well as you, it doesn't mean they can't critique you. Their eye might be it's probably just as good as yours, and their ability to see is as good. They just haven't developed the talent yet. You know, talent has to be developed, and you need experience and all that. So they may not be as experienced at that moment, but they're quite capable to critique the work. If you're an island unto yourself, I think you start to internalize. You start to repeat yourself. You start to not know where to go. You develop a certain stage, and then you start to dry up. When you get other people there and they're working, it's really neat to be in a working group because you watch them work and say, geez, I never thought of doing it that way. But I love the way you mix those colors or the way you compose this. Or sometimes you say, I haven't done that in 20 years. It's glad to see it again. I'll try it again. But they're training you in their own workings. So, and then they also come, you should, as a group, always be encouraging each other. And encouragement sometimes is a criticism or something. It's saying they care enough about you to tell you to change something. Something to them needs changing. It's not, doesn't fit right, doesn't look right. And that, if they're not close enough to tell you this, there's issues. You better give them permission to do it. Say, look, you're friends, we're working, we're peers, help me here. If you see something's not right, or a way of making it better, tell me. I may have a reason why I won't do it, and I'll listen and I'll say, you're right, I will do it, or I might say, I'm going this way with it, I'm not finished yet. But I'm glad you told me, because it's really important. They always tell you. And there's that great exchange between them. Better in the mirror. You stick your arm in the mirror and you can see mistakes. Put it in a car or another room, great. But there's nothing like somebody coming in saying, the mouth too long, the eyes. My husband said, your eyes a little too high in one thing I was doing. I had looked at that paint for 3 weeks, never noticed it. He comes in, says, eyes are an eighth of an inch too high, or it's just a fraction. He was absolutely right. An hour later, it was perfect. Something had been bothering me for weeks on this painting. And I kept changing this and that, and I said, not right, couldn't pinpoint. He pinpointed it in just a few seconds. I moved it, I was happy. But you can't always see. You know, you've memorized this thing. You've fallen in love in it. It's a love-hate relationship. The people around you will hopefully get you to fall in love with that piece again. And you need their energy. Energy by yourself. You're like fuel. You're by yourself trying to work. You have to self-motivate, self-train, self-everything. Nice to have people there that you've got their energy, their drive. They all come into your studio, you go in their studio, and the big smiles are howling. Right away you feel that energy, the pleasure of you being there in that same place. That rubs off on you. And then when you train other people or work with other people, and you're trying to tell them, you know, this isn't quite right, they say, why not? Well, you got to explain why, and you have to use comparisons. You might have to demonstrate for them. But just doing that makes you look at something critically, their work, and figure out politely how to tell them how to do it, and figure out, you got to go through all those terminology against it. You know, how to tell them that he's got 3 eyes instead of 2. But it's just some fun things like that. But you need to have in a group. You need to have them. But you have to choose your group. Not 20 people don't necessarily always work together. There are people that are negative energy on you, that influence you badly, they distract you. There's somebody besides you that stops you from one-on-one relationship with your artwork, that as you're working, it's a negative energy. It's causing negative feedback to you. Then there's something that has to be sorted out. You either have to move away from that person or discuss it with them to see. Maybe you just don't know them enough, you're shy, you haven't met them, you know, you haven't talked to them. Say, gee, once I got talking to this person, you might be 2 years with a person and still not know them. Get close to them, because you're going to have to decide to get close to them or to get away from them. Give them a chance first to get close. That doesn't work that way. But there's some people that will affect you, that I stood beside people, 90% of people stand beside, I can work fine. 10% I stand beside, I can't work. I look at it and I go blind. It's like, I can't do this. And it's because they're either way better than I am, I'm intimidated, or they think they're way better than I am, and I'm too arrogant to let them feel that. Whatever the reason is. Sometimes it's just they're negative people, and you can feel that. And some people just, their physical thing, they snort, they make noises, they crying, they're deep. You just can't work beside somebody like that, didn't move. But you do need to have positive energy around you from other artists.
And who are your favorite historical artists? And what makes a great artist to you?
Most famous, historical wise, I like Norman Rockwell. It's one of my favorites just because he had multiple styles. He did a lot of artwork people liked, and it wasn't so much his commercial work, that his calendar art that I like. It's that he did a lot of impressionist work, he did abstract work, he did some drip paintings like Paul. He did many different styles of artwork. And once you got to research his abilities, he was one of the most talented artists that the U.S. have ever produced, because he was able to do all of what the abstract artist, every other artist could do, plus more. He was also able to do commercial art. Not every fine artist can do commercial art, but every commercial artist I know of can do fine art and do it well. And a lot of the fine artists have a very strong prejudice against commercial art. I said, why? He does everything you do, plus he can do one layer past that. You can't. I said, you can't do what he does, he can do what you do. And you should respect these guys. They're some of the most talented fine artists were commercial artists, or I don't know if you call them graphic art, or whatever the term is today. I do like Rembrandt. I loved his roundness, his richness, Caravaggio, Leonardo, all those. I love the classical styles. They were good. There was no question they were good painters. And it wasn't an accident. These guys could paint. These guys could draw. I like the Impressionists. The colors they brought in, they took the dullness of paintings years ago. There's a lot of great accuracy in the paintings, but there was no life and color in them. A lot of great storytelling.
Oh, let's do more. So
then there was part 2 to the question. It was which artist I like.
And what makes a great artist?
What makes a great artist? He's got to have talent. You've got to have something to work with. No talent, you have nothing to work with. So you've got the talent. You have to have the desire to do it, and the physical strength, mental strength to do it, and the willingness to suffer. I don't know any artist who's a great artist. Michelangelo, you all know his suffering with his feet glued to his boots. I mean, that was a little extreme. I do wash my feet and I do change my socks. I will not put myself up on a scaffold and go blind for anyone. No, thank you. I think there's a limit to suffering, but you have to be willing to work hard, work all the time. It changes the way you see things. The sky now has multiple colors, where when I was young it was blue and white. Now it's multiple colors. You have a lot to gain from it. But if it's going to be a great artist, you have to be willing to learn. There has to be some humility and arrogance. The arrogance to do it and say, I'm good enough to do it, and I am so good you must buy from me. And I want to be hung in this museum. I am that good. You have to have that confidence. And but you have to have the willingness to learn from everyone. Your student will teach you if you look at what your student is doing. And it's the never lose your childhood ability to want to create. Here's a perfect balance. They can do a painting is always perfect composition. We lose that ability. Go back to thinking, seeing like a child. Everything's fresh and new and full of questions. Every time you look at a color, when I look at a painting, what color to use, I want to try. I want to do that. When I see somebody's work, I say, I want to go and do that. And be